Hey, I'm Lachlan Ebb. I'm a teacher at St Anthony's Catholic College and I'm 24 years old. I really hurt my leg actually on a motorbike. There was the one time that my father had allowed me to take the bike out on my own. So my friends and I put the bike on a trailer. My friend Harry, who had his licence, drove a big ute and we towed the bike out to the savannah. Naturally, as the owner of the bike, I rode it last, and so I, having done a bit of motorbike riding, wanted to show my other mates how fantastic I was. So I boosted off into the sunset. Anyway, so I'm out there on my own, and basically I came to these ditches. And so I'm riding through these ditches one by one, and each ditch I hit, I'd get a little bit of air out of it. And that was obviously a really exciting thing, showing off everyone that I could ride a bike like this. And I got so lost in the, I guess my own idea of how great I was and how great everyone else must think I was, that I started daydreaming. And these were muddy ditches, right? They were like tidal. So, the seawater coming through and creating slippery mud. And just as I was coming up to one, well, I saw it too late. So I looked up and I went to swerve. Now the thing is, we're talking like slippery mud on either side of it. And so as I tried to swerve, my bike tyre went sideways in the mud and dug in. And so there's me going at about 80 k's per hour, and the bike starts sliding out of control. So immediately my reflex is to put my foot down. So I shove my foot into the dirt. And this doesn't work very well because the weight of me and the bike simultaneously go over my leg. Next thing I remember anyway, after having planted my foot down, was waking up in the mud, tasting salt. So waking up, in the mud with the bike in the dirt there. And at this point I didn't know how injured I was, so I stood up and tried to pick the bike up. I felt like I slipped over at one point, but realised what had actually happened was it wasn't me that had slipped over. As I stood up, my leg just caved inwards. I was on my knees, fell down. I looked down at the ground and my ankle and shin were completely perpendicular to my body. So if you can imagine that this is me, this is the angle that my leg was at, so completely perpendicular, like a right angle. So upon seeing that, I promptly passed out again, and I kind of went in and out of consciousness, aware that I'd really obviously damaged myself. Eventually my friends showed up in the ute. They'd gone out to find me and found me in the mud, and we didn't really know what had happened yet, and I wasn't really talking much. I hadn't explained. When the MRI came back, it basically said, like, look mate, your knee is soup. There's nothing really holding this leg together. You've got one entirely severed ligament, you've got cartilage all crushed together and meniscus all over the place, and there's a half-torn ACL. And anyway, it was a total mess. My mother and I went down to Brisbane to have the surgery done, which was a full knee reconstruction. The way they did it was they harvested like a hamstring from the back of my leg and then brought it around to the front of my leg and then bolted that on in place of the tendon that was actually severed. So they throw out the old ACL ligament, just throw it in the bin, and then harvest one of your hamstrings and then bolt it back on. So my rehabilitation process, the actual painful part, wasn't rehabilitating what was damaged. It was actually trying to grow back a new hamstring. Still hurts today, very much so. I don't think my leg will ever go back to normal, no. Yeah, so I guess that's my story.